Quidenus-Wahlforss, and your moderator, Devin Coldaway. Warm welcome, please.
Here. Here.
So thank you for joining us.
That's okay.
First question, where do I get one of these flight suits? This is amazing.
That's complicated, actually. You have to order them in the US. It's a pilot suit.
Wow. Okay, well, that makes it easy for me, actually. So.
Do you want one of these dresses?
But we can
as well?
help you.
I think I could probably...
You could pull this off as well. And then, yeah.
Okay, I think we'll talk later. Maybe we can start out with just a quick intro of what you guys do, since it's not obvious when you just say, like, oh, well, we're adding AI to insurance, claims, legal profession. Like, what exactly do you do?
So Luminance is an artificial intelligence platform for the legal profession. We built a legal inference transformation engine. So Luminance reads and understands legal documentation and then learns from the interaction with lawyers. So if you're reviewing a large quantity of documentation, the lawyer interacts with the platform, and the platform then surfaces the most important information to speed up things like M&A due diligence or e-discovery or any situation where you need to read a lot of legal stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Sofie?
So we at Omnias, we help insurance companies to get through the digital transformation as smooth and fast as possible. And we do that by supporting them with a toolkit that is automating their core, which is claim handling. And it takes a lot of time, and it's super complex to process claims. So this is what we do, automating claim handling to make it more easy for us to send in claims.
So I feel like AI has been revolutionizing a lot of industries, a lot of businesses, but a lot of them were high tech to begin with. Law and insurance are notoriously old-fashioned legacy industries. How did you guys decide that, like, it was time to bring in an advanced technology like artificial intelligence and machine learning? I think the legal profession came around before the insurance profession, so maybe, Emily, you can speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, it had more to do with the capabilities of the technology, actually. So we started with technology that can read a lot of language, and then we looked at what industry would benefit most from that. So it was that way round. I think timing is obviously 80% of the battle, and the fact that the legal profession had got to a point of being ready to accept the use of that kind of technology is more luck than anything. But really driven by the fact that there's been such an explosion in enterprise data that lawyers just can't possibly cope with reading all of the documentation that they need to. So the market was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the technology was also ready. But you helped with that. It's not like you just picked it up off the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Sofie, is it similar for the insurance industry, where you just looked at it and you're like, well, it's time?
Yes, I think we come from a very similar background. So we started on a horizontal level. We started with deep document understanding, and at some point we understood, okay, if you really want to ship business value, you need to dive into one vertical. And then we had different verticals to choose, and manufacturing, legal, pharma, a lot of different areas like logistics and so ever. And then we were like, okay, wait, which area is the biggest that is not transformed yet? And do we see decision makers aware of the need to do something? Do they have money? That was also important for us, of course. And then we saw these guys accelerating the trend of the pain of handling huge amounts of digital documents. The insurtech world is, of course, making a lot of pressure. So all the new insurance companies like Lemonade, WeFox, Koya, because they claim to settle a claim in minutes. So the big guys like Allianz, they got nervous. And of course, on the other hand, you see on the technology side improvements in the area of computing power, way more access to data, of course, more flexible models. So then we thought, okay, the industry is ready, technology is ready. I was ready to build a big company. It's my 4th company. So I was like, okay, this time I built something huge. So everything fall into place.
Well, you guys say that the industry is ready, the industries are ready, but are the people in the industry ready? Because it seems like there's going to be a lot of traditional legacy types who are like, look, we've done it this way for 150 years, it's good enough. So have you encountered that kind of resistance, and how do you overcome it?
Some of them are ready.
They're the ones getting the profits now.
Some of them are more ready than others, and
Yeah.
I think the ones who aren't ready need to really catch up. because we got to critical mass really quickly. So we're only 3.5 years old, but we've got 185 law firms around the world signed up using Luminance. The interesting thing was the most ready people were the law firms outside of the UK, outside of the UK. So it was US, so it was European law firms, APAC-based law firms, South and Central American law firms who got on board first. So I think they were more ready because, to be honest, the commercial pressure was greater. And then the pressure on the US and UK law firms came from them.
Was that tally with your experience as well, Sofie?
Yes, I would say yes. So we were inspired by Ping An, a Chinese insurance company. So we thought, cool, this transformation is happening already now.
Yeah.
And then after a while, 2018, we were like, okay, this market is not moving as fast as we thought. And then we looked at all our proof of concept, proof of technology pilots we did with insurance companies. We're like, wow, every big insurance company in Europe want to have AI pilot, AI project. But who is really ready to start with AI in full production? And then we took all our companies, and it's something I can really recommend for every startup trying to transform an industry from scratch, classifying your customers. So then we were like, okay, who is a laggard? Who is an early adopter? Who is early mainstream? Who is an innovator? And then we decided together with the board, okay, we only focus on innovators and early adopters, and the rest should wait, or we can both wait for each other, but we cannot waste our time. So, and we had 16, 17 criteria how we defined the companies we really want to spend time with. And since then, things are developing very, very well, and we see traction, we see a lot of usage from these customers. So I think that's the key. If you want to transform an industry, focus on the ones who are ready and open, and don't fight on a political level, because that's not why a startup is kind of trying to disrupt an industry.
Right, and it helps to have data on those, your potential clients. It sounds like you classified them like an AI might, using like 17 factors or so.
Exactly, I already thought about our classification model.
This comes naturally to you.
Only 17 criteria are possible to even classify for a human brain.
But actually, there's one classification that I don't know whether you've come across it, but one that drives me crazy, which is the science experiment. So it's the wealthy organization that wants to adopt AI to show what an innovative company they are.
Yes.
And they want to do something different from everybody else. So they want to try and, say, I want to try something really different and really experiment with the technology. And no.
Absolutely.
Forget it. That doesn't help.
Absolutely.
Really, if you don't have a commercial imperative, if you don't need technology, I'm not interested in working with you.
Yes, you're so right. There's a really cool research from Gartner tracking all the AI pilots in Europe in the different old industries. And from 2017 to 2018, it increased by, I think, 28%. So crazy. Everybody wants to play around with AI. How many of them are in full production? A really, really tiny percentage, 1 point whatever.
It's play around, experiment, and then forget about it.
Talking about it on stage, publishing, blogs.
Because that's not much of a business proposition either, to do a one-time, oh, here's your contract, we just want to explore the space. It's like, no, we want to build a partnership that'll make us both rich and last for 20 years. Why not?
Yes.
So Omnius, one of the claims that Omnius makes is that you provide a service that's it's fast, transparent, and empathetic. But AI is not known for being transparent or empathetic. Fast, maybe. So how do you create a fast, empathetic, transparent process with something that's fundamentally not those things?
So we have the technology beneath it, of course, and a lot of recent developments in that space that are helping us to achieve this confidence score. And I think what's really important is to push the real-time processing. If you want to be more customer-centric as an insurance company, if you want to, for example, offer real-time policy comparison, which is important, or if you want to go back to your customer and let them know, is this claim covered or not, which is one of the most painful moments when you have an accident. Is it covered? Is my insurance company helping me here? Then you need to be able to make a decision fast, in real time, and for that, to make that happen, you need to access all the data. You cannot access all the data manually, and you need to understand and map the data, and that's how we can enable our insurance company to react fast.
Yeah.
Can you make the same guarantees for empathy?
Yes, so empathy, what is empathy? It's like if I have an accident, I want my insurance company to react fast. So that's kind of empathetic. If I get a reaction as fast as possible, so that's what we call empathetic, that the customer doesn't have to wait 8 weeks. Transparency is an empathetic approach to deal with a customer pain point. So you send in a claim and you immediately get back a status report. Okay, thank you so much for the claim. This is how we proceed. You will hear back from us in 2 days, for example. Or empathetic would be that you, Devon, you had an accident, or let's say your bike got stolen, okay? And you sent in your claim and you forgot a crucial document. But you are a customer since 15 years. You pay every month punctually, and there was no other issue with you, and you are missing this one document. Who cares? 300 euro. We pay you back this claim tomorrow. Who cares? Yeah, because we want to help you in this situation. And the NPS score will go up. So now you are happy. You're like, wow, that's so nice. Although I sent in not the complete package, they are just friendly. Yeah? So that's how we define empathy, to make exceptions when it's intelligent. And on the business side, it's also smart, because you want to jump out of the process as fast as possible. And that's possible with as many data as possible, enabled by our AI kit. So every process step costs money. So if I would go back to you, it's like, can you please send in this one document so we have everything we need, everything is complete. It's more expensive for me as an insurance company than just jumping out of the whole process and sending you the money as fast as possible. So we call it fast track.
Mm-hmm. And Emily, Luminance right now is a tool for lawyers, right? But do you envision, is there sort of a ceiling on like how capable the AI tool can be, or is at some point the AI going to be providing more high-level legal guidance or understanding?
I think, again, there are huge parallels between what we do and what you do, because the human is the most important part of this. The human lawyer is the most important part of the process.
Yeah.
So really what we're doing is enabling that lawyer to work faster with more information, and you still need the human in there. Speed is a good thing. The weird thing about the legal profession is that it's one of the few industries that has got more profitable by being less efficient over time.
Right.
So that's one of the main challenges that we have, is persuading the legal profession that for your clients, speed is good. They want to be on the front foot of the negotiation. If you can help them to understand the full picture of an M&A transaction early on, then they will negotiate better than the other side. That is a good thing. You should actually be charging more for high speed, not more for slowness. So the human lawyer at the center of it is the most important thing. They will always be there. The ceiling is, the human lawyer will need to be involved. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of whether AI can replace lawyers, I always think it's a little bit like the financial services industry. If you look at accountancy, Excel came along. You don't have purchase ledger clerks sitting and adding up columns of numbers anymore, but you still have accountants.
Yeah.
Excel has not replaced accountants. Excel enables accountants to do their jobs better. Yes, it has replaced some people, but those people will be doing very repetitive machine-like work.
Speaking of inefficiencies, I imagine in consulting with your clients, you may find that they are using very interesting old legacy systems, paper-based filing systems, old servers and databases in like Windows XP and stuff like that. How do you guys interface as a very sort of cutting edge, like, oh, here's how we're going to apply AI and the machine learning. How do you interface with these extremely old data entry techniques, weird legacy systems? Have you encountered any weird friction from that?
Yep. I think in a way the blank sheet of paper is the best thing. So if I go and talk to a GC, the typical conversation goes like this, right? So can Luminance plug into my document management system? Sure. Does your document management system have a public API? Actually, we don't really have a document management system. Everything is sitting in filing cabinets. And,
right.
and that is normal in the legal profession. So that's actually easier, because then you're not dealing with, we've got to unpick all of this work that you've done all over the years to try and ram home a piece of technology that wasn't quite ready yet. We do also experience the other side of things with big law firms who've spent a lot of time with legacy providers building very complex sets of rules to understand documentation. The main problem we have there is they've invested so much time in that. For them to write that off and say, well, new technologies come along that means you don't need to do that, is emotionally a difficult thing to do and a difficult business case to build. So we have the whole spectrum like that.
Have you encountered any strange old systems running on Windows 3.1 or?
Yes, really old guys sitting in the dusty cellars of the insurance companies. Yes, I mean, this is something you are confronted with, and when you start your AI company, you think about, everything is just in the cloud, and I don't care what they have, and then you are confronted like, no, everything must be on-prem, and by the way, here are the legacy systems you have to kind of deal with, and then you're like, okay, what can we do on a very practical level? So of course you need to build kind of connectors into the core platform to make it as easy as possible to integrate, and based on different microservices, of course it's easier, but still someone has to do the work, and just recently in the last half year we set up a very concrete concept guideline how to deal with it, and in the first step we need to do the work ourselves, which is really painful. So we hired 2 experts focusing on the integration to other RPA systems, workflow, and other business process management systems. You need to understand the technical landscape. There is no other way around yourself. And whatever is you can see on at different customers, you implement in the core product in order to make it scalable. And in the second step, we decided to build the product in a way that it's self-service. So it's like, okay, first we do it ourselves. Second, we enable you to integrate, because we are a product-first company. We don't want to do that. And third, we work with partners. We just signed a contract with BCG, and Accenture is a big partner of ours, and of course smaller consultancies. Someone has to do the work, and at some point you need to make a decision. Am I a product-first company, or are we doing the consultancy work on top? That's a decision you have to do at some point in time.
You mentioned the technical side of things. Both of your companies rely very heavily on natural language processing. This is at the very core of your products. But these documents are very specialized, full of jargon, maybe like strangely formatted. How was it developing? How did you go about developing a brand new NLP system for these very specific and sort of possibly strange new formats?
I think you also have to be kind of realistic here. At least for Omnius, it's not that we reinvent the wheel, right? You have companies like Amazon, Google with TensorFlow, Facebook with PyTorch. There's so much open source which is available for the community, and it's an awesome starting point, right? So, and from there, I think we just did a really good work, also in collaboration with, for example, the Computer Vision Center in Barcelona, to pick the right advancements around, as you say, NLP, like, I don't know, named entity recognition, text classification, super valuable for us, or recurring neural nets, which are at a totally different level today when it comes to understanding texts and documents like we have to do, or word embeddings. There is so much out there you can use and fine-tune. So this is how we approach the development in that space. Look what's out there, fine-tune the models, and understand the domain in depth. And that's also the reason why I think it's so crucial to focus on one industry. So verticalization is crucial if you work with AI, because AI itself is not a product, right? Yes. There's so much out there, and it's a lot about running your own experiments, picking the right tools, and setting up a platform, a toolkit for yourself and your customer to train and retrain the models you picked, and combine the models you picked in the smartest and smoothest form. Mm-hmm. As an engine for your product, for the domain layer. I cannot use my product and platform to solve the problems your lawyers are facing, and vice versa, because on top of the engine that you need to train, particularly for your industry, you need to understand the business domain in order to support with decision making, right? So I think that's how we did it.
Yeah.
We started with PhD research into pattern recognition and supervised and unsupervised machine learning. So Luminance starts by looking at language in the similar way to the way that you and I read, which is, we don't break down what we're reading into words and characters. We look at a whole shape, the shape of a paragraph, the shape of a sentence, the shape of a clause in the shape of a contract, and then we zoom in. So Luminance starts with pattern recognition and clusters patterns of language in an infinite number of different dimensions, and then from there...
That sounds easy. That sounds straightforward.
It actually makes a lot of sense when you see it happening. It's a very, very simple idea.
These are legacy industries that could be high-risk investments. How do you convince the investors that this is worth, investing $10, $20 million in?
I think the easy answer to that is we can prove it. We can prove it from the transformation that we're making with our customers. So right back at the very beginning, when we were just operating on seed funding, we did an initial proof of concept with a London law firm, Slaughter and May. And even in that first proof of concept back in June 2016, they demonstrated, and they measured it, we didn't measure it, they demonstrated 100% acceleration in the due diligence work on the very first project. And then obviously, because this is machine learning, that means that the next project is better than that, and the next project is better than that. And we demonstrate that every time we do a pilot with a new customer in any language. So really, that speaks for itself. Think about that are involved. You need to
Sure. That sounds right to me. You could just go to the investor and be like, 1,000% better.
Yes.
How do you like it?
Yes.
And we can prove it.
Yes, and we can prove it.
And the addressable market is the world. So
tough act to follow. But Sofie, do you have you also solicited grants from the EC. We only have a little bit of time, but I'd like to hear, do you think that startups should be pursuing grants as well as VC money?
Yes, if you can. But in comparison, we raised in total 30 million so far, and we got 1.2 million in grants. So yes, grants are awesome, but I prefer VC money, to be honest. To grow fast, you need you need money from people who understand what fast growth means.
Yeah.
Well, and VCs sometimes do. Well, I think that's all we have time for. Thank you very much for joining us here today, and looking forward to hearing more from you later.
Thank you. Okay.